You can do it too. Easy as 1, 2, 3. You can do it too. Come along and draw with me. Pads and pencils, a very good start. So when you draw with your heart. You draw with your heart, 'cause you can do it too. You can do it too. You can do it too.
Hi, my name is Lydia Forte-Santiago, and I'm glad you're joining my show of You Could Do It Too. Today, we're going to do this little painting, and the name of the painting is Summer Breeze. So if we look at the painting, we could see it's nice, soft waves with a little sailboat, some trees, and a few clouds, and it's a nice, clear summer day. So what we have here and how we're going to start today is I have a tone canvas. This canvas is tone. And what do I mean by tone? Tone canvas is you take your canvas and you lay out your paint thin. You do a little bit of, you look at the colors, which is a lot light gray with bluish. You mix the colors and you do very pale and you paint out the whole canvas. You do this the night before. And then we have what we call a fan brush. This is the fan brush. It's a nylon brush and it's very easy to work with. After you paint the whole thing, you take it and you smooth out your paint. You don't want your brush strokes to be rough. We're fine art. I'm a realist, so I like to do things in a realistic fashion, and you could do it too. So we started and we softened the canvas and we let it dry. After you're satisfied with how smooth it looks, you let this dry overnight. It has to thoroughly dry. Once it's dry, we take our painting and we look at it. And if you notice, you could see that this size of the canvas and this size of the canvas is the same size. I put a few little dots here and there just to help me to show me where the horizon is, where the boat is going to be played. Here's a little dot you could see. Here's another little dot. This is CROOKS Point in Great Kills Harbor before the sailboats go out. This little sailboat is going out to Keyport. So this is the trees, and right here is that little beach. So here I put the beginning of the little tree, so it's just a guideline. So what we're going to do, I'm going to start with this brush, which is also nylon. All these brushes are nylon. This one's a little thicker, there's more to it. So I'm going to start by taking my blue and I mix it with a little white, and we're going to start adding some sky. And if you see the paint is not gliding, you put it in a little bit medium, which is oil, linseed oil, and you just spread it out. And you bring it out, and you spread it, and then you start making some clouds, and bring it up, and you just follow the formation of what you see. You look at the painting. You're constantly looking at the painting. Even if you were doing plein air, if you go out in the street. If I went to Great Kills Harbor to do this, so if you go out there and you could see, and you look at the masses, there's a mass right here, and then there's a cloud, and there's another cloud. And don't think like you can't do it. It's always, if you say you can't, that means you don't want to. You always can, you know you can. And then you spread it out. And if you look at the sky, up above, it's always darker in color, but as you go down, it lightens. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to lighten this. And you're going to bring this down and just lighten it. And you just spread out your paint. Spread out the oil, And you want to put just a little bit more blue here. Yeah. It's a nice clear day. It's nice blue skies. and you bring it across, and you fill up this canvas, and you start with the big masses, so this way it makes it a little easier for yourself. And then detail you don't do. Detail you do later on, after you finish blocking this out and you have the formation of what you're going to do. Then you can get involved and reinstate with the detail. But now you just want to get the overall feel of this. Then here we take a little bit of, you could wipe off your paint because sometimes you don't want to contaminate your color. So we're going to kind of clean this off a little bit like this. And I have a little bit of turpenoid in here. And just not to contaminate your color, you clean it. So you get this really clean. And now we're going to go to the green. Don't forget, the term is blocking. So that's just laying out your foundation. Right here is the trees. So you're going to kind of put them in over here like that. There you go. So that's the idea. So we're not getting, and here over here, there's a little tree here. So you could kind of put him in there like that. Like that. And then you clean out your brush, and you're not getting detail. You're not getting anything lost in detail. Now we're going to take and we're going to mix a little bit of gray right here. And we just put it over here, just a little bit of this color, just to check out. There. Then we'll take a little bit of this beach color scene, which you see here, and you could kind of bring it over a little bit like that. You know, that's just a little bit. That goes around. That's in Keyport. You have that little beach where the fellas go fishing over here, which is a pretty little spot. You know, it looks nice. You know. And then in here is the sailboat. So what you want to do is you just kind of like block this off a little bit. Now you need this little brush, because this little brush it's a little bit more like a pencil, so it's better to work with. This brush here's my white. This brush is better to work with. So what we're going to take here is we're going to take and put a little bit of white, and we're going to put the boat like right in here, and we're just going to bring this down there, and then you're going to just put the sails, and you look at it. You look at it to make sure you got the right. Yeah, you put a little, and you just add. You keep adding a little color. You can mix it with a little black. This way you have a little form here that's going on here. You know, for the boat, because now we're drawing. You're just drawing the boat there. And then you kind of, here's the boom here. And then the sails go right here. And then there's somebody sitting over here. And you know what? It's this particular thing here, it's a distance. So you could just put there's a few people sitting there. So you can add it like that, you know. And that's the mass there. And then what you do is you could take a little bigger brush, and you could kind of just put in these sails. This looks very pretty, like this, like that. So now there you go. There. And it's really very pretty, like that. And then the boat, of course, it's white, so you could add a little color here. On boat. And this side, of course, is the shadow side. This side is the part that's lit up from the sun. So you bring it down like that, you know. And being you're blocking, you don't have to be getting too involved with it, you know. You could just come back, mix a little bit thing, and then you could just start adding this water like that. Add there, and just mix your colors and bring it over here. You get right there, and it goes through like that, and then it comes down here, and then you kind of just, and like when you're blocking, you're not really getting involved in any detail. So what you're actually doing is you're laying out your groundwork. That's what we're doing. So you don't have to worry about the picture looking pretty or anything. You're just laying some foundation and some groundwork to see how it's going to eventually fall, like that. Yeah. And you could look at it from a distance and see, Now you take your little greenery here, and you could put a little bit of black, because then you could make some little formations of trees here. And this is now look at the stroke of the brush, how I changed this. You just change your stroke. You see, make, a little bit. Even though you're trying to make like a realistic picture, but this part, when you start like this, you could give it a little impressionistic. Don't forget, this is distant. So when you're working with distance, you see some of it, but you see it at a distance. So it's a little bit hazy because it's not too close. So you do that. And you always back up and you try to look at it and see how it looks into perspective form. You can add a little bit of shadows from these trees, so that could be brought down too, like this. And then you could take the other brush, the brush I had, which was this brush right here, wipe it off, and start with the water here. There you go. And first you put in your gray, because you want to put in the water like that. Yeah. There. Like this. There. And you bring out your brush and you spread the paint. Like I said, if it's not spreading, you just put a tiny little, not a lot of oil, because painting is thin on thin. You have to build up the painting. You don't just put it on all at once. It doesn't work out that way. It has to be done really slowly. And then it dries, and then you detail it, and then you reinstate it, and then you come back and you reinstate some more. And after a while, it begins to really shape up. But now we want to just add, we want to fill this up. We want to make, you could see this is first a little dark there. Right here, before we start putting in those pretty waves that are coming in. Yeah, like that. You do that. So this is what we do. Yeah. And sometimes if you feel you put too much paint, you take a little towel like this. This is Viva towels. They have to be Viva. There's no fibers in this, so it's very easy to wipe off. The other thing, when you wipe off, if it's another towel, it leaves some tiny little fibers. So that's why it must be this. And then you just kind of spread it out. Remove some of the paint if I put too much paint on it. There. Like that. Now you go back to the little painting like this, the little brush, and you dip it in your oil, and we're going to do some drawing now. So let me go to this black, and let me just kind of refine this little boat here. And you tap it. Sometimes you don't, you lay it down and you tap it, and you bring this, there's like a boom here, the sails. So it's like a drawing. There. And then these little guys are there, so you kind of put them in. This is, so now that little part, you have to detail it a little bit to show that there's a boat and it's going out. There. That's it. And then this side, being the light is coming from from the left, you're going to brighten this up a little bit. So here we're going to lighten this up. This is this is the dark side is that side. That's where the sun is going. So, but the light side is this side. So you go like this and you lighten this side. And like that. And you could put a tiny, tiny little bit brown in it, not a lot. Less paint on the brush is much better because you could always build it up. And painting is building up, little by little, building it up. Now we're going to take just a little bit of red. And this guy here is wearing a little red jacket, so let's put that in there. And sometimes you lay the paint in. You just go like this, and you lay it in. Now the other guy has a blue jacket, so we'll give him a blue jacket so you could see that there's people there. There. And then this little guy over here has a yellow jacket, so let me give him some yellow there. And you see, so you know there's people there. Now you take a little bit of dark right here, and you want to make just a suggestion. It's a little suggestion of a little head. One. See how I tap it? I just tap it. So you look and you see, oh, there's people in that boat. They're sailing out, you know. So you don't have to go like you're actually drawing. You just tap it. And then you look back and you could see that effect. Now we're going to go back to the boat, and we're going to just kind of like sketch it out a little bit because you want to make it look a little bit more refined. And you know, everything with painting is like reinstating. You have to reinstate everything. You don't just draw it once. That's what sometimes it takes, you know, over and over, and you come back to it. And the more you come back to it, the better the painting gets. And if I could do it, you certainly could do it too. Like the show says, you can do it too. And it's not so much about the talent that you might have. It's more about the desire, the passion, the desire that you want to do something. That's what makes you really accomplish it. It's not so much about the talent, because some people could be very talented, but if they don't have the will and the desire, then it's not going to happen. The desire is what makes it happen. The passion is what makes it happen. The will, the want, that's what really makes it happen. And besides that, it's, like I said, it's therapeutic, it's relaxing, time can go by, and it's almost like it just takes away all the stress. If you have any stress in your life, I would suggest to choose painting. It's wonderful. And once you get into it, it's really a good thing to do. Now, right underneath the sail, like behind the sail, right in here, we're going to draw this because there's a shadow here. So we want to put that shadow. So you're going to just bring it down. And the reason being is because that wind is catching that sail. So you want to show that. And then here is the mast. So you want to put that in. Put the mast in like that. So that's good. Now, it's kind of an idea. It's there, and you see they're sailing to the keyport. Now we're going to take this brush, clean it out, and we're going to start. You got to start darkening some of this. Now, there. And once you start doing this, it builds up. You have to build it up, you know. It doesn't just happen. You have to build this up. And you build it up by adding the dark, and then you come in with the light. And always when you get closer to the bottom of the canvas, that's when you can start darkening it, because over here is where it would be dark. And right over here. And don't be afraid if you do too much paint, you got your Viva towels, you could just wipe it off. So that's no big deal. Then you look at it and you look at it and see how it's coming. You check it out. And right in here, we can take one of these little things, Viva towels, and you could just wipe it off. Yeah, because distance fades. So when you look at the distance, you're going to see it fades and it just goes away, which is really nice. You know. And this is kind of the beach over here where the guys go fishing. It's a nice little area to go fishing in. And you know something? You see what I'm doing now? I'm cleaning this little brush. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this tiny little fan brush. You see this little fan brush? And you wonder why I'm taking this. I want to fuzz that out a little bit. I apply too much paint. So what we do is we take this little fan brush and we just wipe it down. Wipe it down like this. And you fuzz that out, you know. Don't forget, it's at a distance. It's not on top of you, the boat. It's sailing away. So you want to get that a little bit fuzzed out. It's going away. Now we could take a little bit of this white paint and we could kind of just tap it. I remember what I told you about the strokes of the paint. Remember that I said the strokes change? And you turn your brush and you make it, you don't keep the same stroke and you don't keep the same degradation of color. You have to change that because they will blend into each other, but they will still look more dimensional. You have to make it look very dimensional. Too much paint, you wipe it off. Like, there's a little thing there, push this away. There's a little bit. Now there's too much paint there. Of course, I made a mistake there. So I'll just wipe it off. And don't be afraid to make mistakes because all you got to do is wipe it off. It's really relatively easy. It's not, painting takes a long time to dry. So if you make a little error, you just take and you wipe it off. It's no big deal. Now we just go like this. And you skip. You see, like, I kind of stroke it down, and then I just kind of like, and this way, it's building up. So now it's beginning to take some shape, some form. Now you back off and you look, kind of little white caps there, the little bit of waves coming in, you could see them. It looks very pretty. And here where the clouds are, they're a little, you can add a little more clouds here to make this look a little punchy. The clouds, like clouds formation should be added. It really looks pretty, and and you know something, when you get involved in this, it's so enjoyable that you actually have fun doing it. And I'll tell you one other thing, the more you do this, the better you get at it. And the better you get at it, the more you enjoy it. So it's something that is just fun to do. I mean, a painting like that up there, the flowers, that painting over there is called My Diary, the Screaming Eagle, the church. I mean, that took a while. That took like, you know, several weeks. And then you back off and you look at it. And it's beginning to take some sort of form. Now we can take a little bit of this blue color, which is so pretty, and we could put it over here and spread it out. That looks pretty nice. And there you go. And spread it out. So first you start with the block. First you start with toning of the canvas. Then you start with the blocking of the painting. So little by little you build it up. You're building it up. You put dots where the measurements is, so you could get, it's a guideline. So this is going to go here, the little boat's going to go here, the trees are going here. It's like a little guideline. Now we go back to this. I clean my brush. Here's a little turpenoid, which is to clean your brush. You never want to contaminate your colors. So this is very important. So if you're going to work with the same brush, you have to clean it. So we're going to take a little bit of this, which is like a beach sand, and I'm just going to bring it out like that, like this, to show some sort of dimension here, like that. Then you can take a little bit of white. As it goes in here, it goes like that. Bring it out a little bit, like this, and you bring it out. Then, again, with the Viva towel, you wipe. The old masters did a lot of wiping when they were doing old century paintings. They took rags and they wiped off their paintings in portraiture and everything. But they were always kind of wiping because they wanted to look very, very realistic. And somehow by doing this, you take away that stroke of the brush. Some people say, gee, I don't see any stroke of the brush. That's why you don't see a stroke of the brush, because you're constantly wiping. You don't necessarily want to be like the strokes of the brush. And sometimes this sand goes into the water. So if you get some of this color, you run it through. That's okay. There. And again, with this little fan brush, which I use a lot, this is very good. I just stroke it like this, blur it out a little bit. So you could see they're going away. It doesn't have to be so defined because we're working at a distance. So we could just kind of tap it like that. And your maul stick, don't forget, if you can hold your hand steady, and you cannot do this for whatever reason being, which most of us can't, you just take your maul stick and you put it like this, and it's easier to just lean on it and just tap it. So the maul stick is a necessity. You have to have this maul stick. A lot of times I can't hold the hand steady, so you use the maul stick and you get this effect, like that. And this is how you get, so the boat looks more realistic. And they're there, they're having fun. They're going, I bet you wish you were out there, right? They're going for lunch to Keyport. Now this is called blocking. Later on, what we do is have a good time, and I'm glad you enjoy the show. And keep on painting. And remember, if I could do it, so can you. It's not about the talent, it's about the desire, it's about the will, it's about the passion. We're all talented. Everybody has talent. Just most of us haven't developed it. And this is an opportunity for you to develop your talent. And if you need critique, you come into, and sometimes we could exchange ideas as artists and painters. I love doing that.
You can do it too. Easy as 1, 2, 3. You can do it too. Come along and draw with me. Pads and pencils, a very good start. So when you draw with your heart. You draw with your heart, 'cause you can do it too.